New modifications have arrived, my friends. Reskin mods, new heroes, legendary lore, especially legendary lore, one of the best mods for Warhammer 2, which gives you thousands of little events that you can read about Warhammer lore, which are, I mean, they're just beautiful. And it's not only reading events, but actual events that happen. For example, spawning enemy armies or giving you certain debuffs or buffs. It's just, oh, modifications are just beautiful. Alrighty. And I believe we can just end the round. Let me quickly check. Oh! Litrax, no. I don't care about orcs. We're ogres. And even Mixus, there's a very... You could say popular mod. Quite a big one. For Warhammer 2. It's a modification that adds a gazillion new lords / heroes to the game. And they did it after a couple of days. They ported most features over to Warhammer 3 and already released it as a beta. The beta mod for a beta. Mortal Empires. Never mind that one. So here we are. And... oh, he's attacking us. Are you serious? And there's also a modification that I've found, even though it's not yet updated for Mortal Empires, which has a beautiful ring to it, and it's a patrol mod. It gives every faction patrols that automatically scour a land that you conquered, and they automatically attack enemies. They're not giant armies, there's only 4 or 5 units at a time, but it's just the concept of it is beautiful. I'm definitely going to use that one. Okay, walk fails. Ah yes, one of the events, yes, legendary lore. One of the best mods for Warhammer, Total War. Noblar country is a large expanse of relatively lush green hills, which was once teeming with large tribes of Noblars from all across the Dark Lands and the Mountains of Morn. However, due to its large population, massive slave raids from the Chaos Dwarfs of the Black Fortress, and the constant depredation from Arrowhawks led to a drastic decrease in population numbers. In a vain attempt to combat these threats, the Noblars hammered together the detritus of 100 battles over the years to form ramshackle scrap towers. But those that remain standing are manned with Noblar archers, ready to pincushion the Chaos Dwarfs next time they dare attack. Yeah, that's definitely a faction that we're going to experience, the Chaos Dwarfs. The community is not yet sure if it's the next DLC or maybe the one after that. But there are already hints that Creative Assembly gave us that the Chaos Dwarfs are coming indeed. Of course, they are the evil counterparts of the good dwarfs in the Warhammer franchise. They're a bit like the Dark Elves compared to the High Elves, and they're pretty awesome. Realistically, the archers are unlikely to fire more than one volley before the slavers level the shabby constructs. You can't fault them for trying. Okay. Oh, the OGRE Kingdoms. The Gnoblar scrap launcher is an impressive war machine. Yeah, we have that. Wait, where's our second army? We do have a scrap launcher. That's a scrap launcher. A Noblar scrap launcher. Alright. It is a large and unconventionally built catapult pulled along by an enormous holly beast. Its design is hazardous. The ramshackle construction seemingly built on the go, with a random collection of cast-off materials. With each stride of its shaggy beast of burden, the jury-rigged device teeters precariously while a frenetic crew of Noblar swarm about, running alongside, clambering on its ropes and pulleys like sailors among the rigging, or just hanging on for dear life. Rigging. For all its slovenly appearance, the Noblar scrap launcher is a devastating engine of destruction. Too slight or lazy to lift rocks, the Noblars pack the launcher cup with bundles of weapons that have been accrued during battle. As the so-called thinling weapons are too tiny for ogres and too large for Noblars, they are used as ammunition. These loose-knit bundles of nastiness are hurled towards an enemy like a deadly rain. While the deluge of sharp instruments may sometimes only pincushion the ground or clang loudly against a foe, so many lethally sharp bits fly through the air that odds are at least a few will strike tender flesh. After a battle, it is a simple matter to gather the weapons back during the pre-feast corpse harvest. Many of the blades have seen more battles than the Noblars who fire them. The beast that tows this crab launcher is usually a young rhinox. Adult rhinoxen are simply too big and stubborn to haul anything, but the younger ones are not yet so strong-willed. Other creatures have been tried, from the Mournfang to the Thunder Tusk and even a Stonehorn, but the results were unfavorable at best, with lots of smashed timber and squished-out Noblar-shaped botclotches left behind. So apparently it's Mournfang, that's the cavalry, then we have a Thunder Tusk above that, and at the top there's a Stonehorn. I wasn't sure last episode, or the episode before that, if the Stonehorn was truly the most powerful, but apparently it is. That's the problem sometimes if you have so many modifications adding awesome new units. Sometimes it's difficult to see which kind of unit is now the best or the highest tier, simply because there are a lot of lower tier units that have gotten awesome upgrades to make them just viable. A Rhinox, even a young one, is a massive creature that hardly strains to pull whatever the Noblars build, including great sledges topped with loading platforms, winches, and even vast support beams braced on the beast itself. Unlike most other war machines, the scrap launchers move at a steady clip and is just as deadly smashing into enemy units as it is at shooting, the Rhinox being only too willing to put down its head and charge. Okie dokie. First deck. You need to improve upon the army. Apparently the enemy can also use our super cool abilities, so it's kind of a problem. I mean, skill dump. Okay, where are we going? Yeah, let's take all of that. Can just also take Foong, not a problem. Yeah, we'll be going with March. Very good, very good. A new port. Do I care? Should I care about these provinces? The problem is if we invest money and we lose them, it's going to be a big waste. What about this bugger? Oh, still busy. Valley of Horns camp. You're definitely going to have to... we can't recruit anything right now. Okay. And this one's here. Do we have to upgrade anything? Meat generated army influence? That's not bad, honestly, considering that we do have an army here. Camp growth. Oh, we don't really need that. Income, very important. Stone Fortress and Thunder Tusk, it's pretty dope. Let's just do it. Meat gained from battles. Nah. Okay. And Gob's not big grubber. Use... Oh, there's even an enemy. That's interesting. Where are our friends? We should have a couple allies, or they're already dead. Well, that wasn't a good decision. Sometimes the AI positions its armies ridiculously intelligent, so if they retreat they will be in their own fortress city that will protect them. And just like that, just right now, them fleeing, yeah, that was a bad choice. Now we have our garrison to support us. Yeah, definitely. 33 meat. That's worth it. I'm sorry, the Great Maw. Oh, we have to make a choice. Okay, yeah, I'm also waiting for modifications that allow you to have all of these, not just one. Control leadership attrition from all... Oh, that's very good. I mean, that's pretty dope. I'm kind of tempted to go for casualty replenishment and passive ability regeneration, but the biggest problem with our secondary army, or second army, is that we have not enough meat. And meat, this attrition from meat, counts as attrition. So, kill a creature with poison and it seeps into their skin. Give that yummy flesh an extra kick. What? My goodness, these ogres are... My goodness. I'm not going to comment that one. That's Jesus. Okay, one, improve upon the army. Perfect. Increase mobility, that's perfect as well. What do I do with you? Stimulate growth, why not? Go for specialist. Okay, and all of that should be fine. They're friends. At least they're not enemies. Let's see, what does our panel here say? Yeah, nothing. Then let's just go north. And okay, that looks like it's enemy territory. Enosh tongue swallow. Is that... Oh no, we should be able to see our allies construct slash settlement. That's definitely, yeah, that's our ally. So if I go there, do we still get regeneration? No. Okay, then we're going to stay here and regenerate this army. Yeah, he's still busy. Oh, they're also building up the next army. Oh, these buggers. We're going to choose a warband soon, and that should give us the edge. Nope, no, I wanted to end the round, please. Don't do anything stupid. Thank you. And soon we're going to do the quest battle with Greases. Right after he got a more useful army. Lead Belchers, the mighty ones, you know. These guys here with their walking cannons. Well, these are walking cannons, basically. Ogres have long been on the receiving end of artillery fire, and they have grown to respect and admire its tremendous killing power. Indeed, such weapons are everything an ogre admires. They are big, loud, and have a tremendous ability to smash things. Hulk approves. However, making any kind of cannon is beyond the ken of ogres, and for years they had to make do with the salvaged remnants from battlefields, ripped off their carriages and carried by the massive creatures like handguns. There are many ogre legends about these early pioneers of the art of gunnery, and the tales of the Loose-Toothed tribe and the army of Nuln, or the Iron Stompers and the attack on Karak Anfirth, are often the first to be told. Units bearing such looted weaponry were unreliable, but produced enough spectacular results that ogre tyrants were always greedily seeking to get their hands on more artillery pieces. It wasn't until the ogre kingdoms began to regularly trade with the chaos dwarfs that specially forged barrels became readily available. Oh, they're friends with the chaos dwarfs. Well, that makes sense. Now it is rare to see a tribe without a unit of lead belchers, the ogre term for both the weapon and the unit that carries them. Their potential to cause destruction and the sheer joyful noise of their blasts is simply too great for most ogre tribes to pass up. It is easy enough to spot ogres from a lead belcher unit, for their faces are scorched, they bear severe powder burns, regularly feature eye patches, and often resort to protective metal plates hammered into their faces. This is the legacy of point-blank detonations and an imperfect, if not downright clumsy, understanding of black powder. Regardless, these hardy and noticeably deaf ogres feel it is well worth sacrificing eyebrows, an eye, or even a few fingers for the chance to level such devastating weapons at a foe. In fact, lead belchers without some scorching or disfigurement are looked down upon as novices by the rest of the unit until they manage to blast off a few chunks of themselves. To fire their weighty guns, lead belchers fill the barrel with shovel-like handfuls of crude black powder. Where did they come from? I do believe that we have a couple modifications, and apparently now we have new heroes. Doran, beautiful. We're going to deal with that later. I just noticed. Nice. So every faction has new heroes with story and special skills and abilities, and my goodness, beautiful. In fact, lead belchers, to fire the weighty guns, lead belchers fill the barrel with shovel-like handfuls of crude black powder, metal shot, rusty nails, an assortment of wickedly bladed weaponry, and occasionally an actual cannonball or similar-sized boulder. The lead belchers go to battle with smouldering tapers pushed through the flesh of their scalps, or held between their teeth. When a prospective target comes into range, they could torch to the spark holes and loose thunderous blasts of hot metal and pure concussive force. If all goes well, these shots will blast apart the target or shredded with a salvo of chopping blades. Entire ranks have been blown to smithereens before the hellish firepower of the lead belchers. But if it goes poorly, a volley will merely inconvenience the foe with hot wind, smoke, and a pinging sound. Small metal fragments fly out of the thick coils of smoke that momentarily hide the ogres. I kind of like the story and the concept behind it. It's a bit of a shame that Creative Assembly didn't employ this. They should have given lead belchers even more damage, but possibility to hurt themselves, for example, I don't know, 5% chance with each shot to get 10% health damage or something, that would have been an awesome mechanic and would have justified even more damage. After discharging, or maybe 50% damage to the health, so 2 times misfire, kaboom, dead. After, with a certain chance to hurt even people around him, that would be a cool mechanic. After discharging their guns, the ogres will immediately move to reload, scooping yet more scrap iron into the molds of their firearms. However, should the enemy close too quickly, lead belchers are not at all adverse to hefting up the iron barrels and using them as massive clubs to smite their enemies. Yeah, that's just ridiculously powerful. You might notice that with the Empire or Dwarfs, when you have artillery, they're pretty potent, like a dragon, but if you attack them in close range, in melee combat, they're useless. Beyond useless, they immediately die. And of course, an ogre was going to smash you with the cannon barrel. It was this muscle-bound technique. At lead belchers of the big club tribe, a unit notorious for their poor aim, used to beat to death the giant mutated war beast that the Ratmen of Crookback Mountain unleashed upon them. Although the lead belchers maintained that most of the damage was done at range, everyone present was more impressed by their prodigious close-quarter prowess. Crushers. The mighty ones. You might have noticed we got them. I believe in our army. These are... Do we have crushers? Where are crushers? Stonehorn, Iron Guts, Boar? No, maybe in our super army. We should have a couple... Yes, crushers are our elite units on the Mournfang cavalry, so they are the best of the best of the best. I believe they are... That's Rhinox. That's not a Mournfang. Okay. Let's see the unit. Can I show it to you? No, that's it. That's a bit of a shame. Monsters and beasts. Yeah, I can't show them to you in a panel. That's not going to work. Okay. Despite the inhospitable weather, the mountains of Morn teem with life. I mean, this is Mountain of Morn, right? Herds of great woolly beasts are plentiful, crisscrossing the boulder-strewn slopes and snowy plateaus seeking food. They are primeval creatures that have existed unchanged since the world was still covered in ice. Crushers ride one such animal, the Rhinox. Huge, hairy, and especially bad-tempered, the Rhinox is a large and dangerous horned beast that will lower its head and ram anything in its way, even the most massive of creatures. Rhinoxen can almost always be found living in the mountainous regions of the world, where they roam the snowy slopes and thunder through the passes in small but formidable herds that are given a wide berth by all but the most ferocious or desperate of predators. A herd of Rhinoxen will never willingly alter its path for anything, be it rockfall, weather, or monstrous predator. Some of this has to do with their own tough nature, as thick skin and shaggy, coarse hair protects the Rhinox from the elements, and all but the most horrendous of damage. Doubtless, some of their fearlessness also stems from the creature's obstinate ways. However, the notoriously bad eyesight of the Rhinox certainly factors into its penchant for walking blindly into precarious situations. Like a giant maw, right? As they live in the extremes of high altitude, with numbing winds, snow squalls, and the ever-present threat of blizzards, visibility is often limited anyway. So the fact that Rhinox cannot see more than a few strides ahead is not nearly as debilitating as it would be for a beast of the plains to compensate for its near blindness. The lumbering Rhinox has developed a keen sense of smell and has learned to charge anything that doesn't reek like another Rhinox. On occasion, they will charge even if it doesn't smell like a Rhinox, if the creatures are just that hostile and the smell really is that bad. Powered by thick haunches of purest muscle, a ram from a charging rhinox is devastating, and those lucky enough to avoid being gored or skewered by its horns, Canox is the fastest way to get down a mountain. And of course we have ogre balls with dual weapons. Those boys here, they're the big ones. And we still can't show you to them to you. Ogre weapons reflect much about the character of their owners. Big, solid, and often exceptionally blunt. Not very sharp, huh? Although rusty blades are popular, most ogres prefer the club, which they wield to awesome effect with their great ham fists. Although cumbersome, a club delivers a reliably heavy blow and will only break or splinter after a great deal of use. For most ogres, a club is not only his first weapon, but also his most trusted one. An ogre treats his club like an extra limb and will only eat it in the most dire of circumstances. On the battlefield, ogres form up into blocky units, and the sweaty stink of a hulking formation is imposing in its own right, as a mirror image of their tribal life. The largest ogre in a unit is in charge, and if he is powerful enough, the title Crusher is applied to him. Some ogre formations take pride in their past victories and carry a banner so that the rest of the tribe can recognize exactly who it is that is performing such great deeds of strength. Like the mightiest crushers of all, right? With his treasure at his back and a giant ham in his left hand. I mean, the depiction of this is just hilarious. I mean, ogres are all about being fat and eating, so that's acceptable. There are modifications that turn greases into an awesome over-tyrant with mighty armor and without this excessive fatness and making him more of a military general. But to be honest, I don't want that. This is perfectly fine. This depiction by Creative Assembly, beautiful. Some ogre formations take yes. These standard poles are ideal places to hang skulls, trophies, or other evidence of their battle prowess. Where are the skulls here? Hello? Okay. Oh, even more? Ogre Balls Iron Fists. Those are Ogre Balls Iron Fists. Do we have Ogre Balls Iron Fists? Ah, yes, these boys here. So on the left hand they have this metallic, almost bracer shield. And the right hand they have a big club. Originating from the traditional ogre sport of pit fighting, ogres often cover their offhand with some kind of shield, spiked gauntlet or heavy glove. This can be used to bat aside even the strongest attacks in a similar way to a giant buckler, or merely to smash an enemy's face into an unrecognizable pulp. Okay, so now we have 3 new heroes. First we have Druk Kineator. He looks pretty dashing. Let's see what he can do. Bone Crusher, Grand Slaughterer, Renowned Feastmaster. Okay, so he appears to be very useful. And of course he's going to join our mighty army of Greece's Gold Tooth. And then we have Blood the Blackened. He looks like well, he looks super cool. Can I see him? Can we watch? Ooh, hello there. Well, I would love to have him on my pirate team. I mean, he's most definitely a pirate. An ogre pirate. Even with a cigar and a feather attached to his head and a cool beard. I mean, that's just beautiful. Well done, whoever made this. So apparently now we have a overcharged black smoke. Bugger off. Okay, so he's obviously a lead belcher dude. He apparently also carries something, probably a cannon. He's of course also going to join Greece's Gold Tooth. And we have Katharina de Hansborg. She doesn't appear to be an ogre. Okay, so let me guess. She's a human living amongst ogres, so maybe she's half ogre or something? I have no idea who she is. What do the skills say? Raised from... Ah! Tabby has guarded and protected Katharina ever since the table tooth has been large enough and old enough to do so. Oh, so she is some sort of mountain human that can deal with ogres and apparently has a saber tooth as a pet. That's pretty dope. Will we also get a pet mount. I mean, the modification is still in beta, so maybe it's going to get later here. But yeah. All right.
Move together.
Yeah, French accent. Okay. Should we wait for them to get into our army? Nah, let's attack. And the units that are most useless and that get the most damage, we're going to replace. Okay, let me see. What can we do here? Mournfang Cavalry. Oh, we can actually upgrade them. So we have great weapons, so we're going for Iron Fists, the next unit. Mournfang Cavalry. Nice. There is fortune to be made as a mercenary for a young ogre with his own Mournfang. And every spring, a few stout lads from the upper slopes will join together and sell their services as the heaviest shock cavalry in the known world. By the way, if you're afraid of this text, wall of text stuff, obviously, this will only appear once. So the first time you encounter these, or right now, 2 or 3 texts per round if you're already in mid-game. 1 second please, I need to sneeze. Then the text appears and gives you a bit of background knowledge about Warhammer and the species you're playing, or the faction, or the hero, the unit, whatever. So obviously this is not coming again, so don't be afraid of it. This creates a certain in-depth feeling that's just, beautiful. Alright. There's fortune to be made, yes. On Mournfang every spring a few stout lads from the upper slopes will join together. That's pretty dope. And sell their I'm sorry. And sell their services as the heaviest shock cavalry in the known world. Powered by thick haunches of purest muscle, Mournfang surge towards the foe at a speed faster than their muscle-bulked frames would suggest. Not slowed in the least by the large ogre saddle atop its hairy back. Protected by thick skin and coarse, shaggy hair. Enemy arrows bounce off the oncoming beast, or ping off the ogre's armor as harmless as the hailstones. It's pretty useful. When they do, I mean, seriously, their skin is so thick, and the hair is so coarse and shaggy, the arrows bounce off. I mean, what the heck? Okay, the powerful Mournfangs chomp, slash, and stamp the foe whilst the ogres lay about them, swinging ponderous clubs to bludgeon the foe. The results are devastating, with the fallen not just slain, but utterly pulverized, grounded into dust, reduced to a single atom. Thanos approves. What? Pounded into the bloody ground by a profusion of heavy blows. Although whole units of Mournfang cavalry can usually secure the victory of any battle they are engaged in, these brutes and their gigantic steeds do not come cheap. And the tyrants or paymasters of the victorious side often note a profounding feeling of loss, and the spoils of war are shared out. That's very interesting. What's that? I did not do that. Buggyhausen has returned. Alright, of course we can upgrade more. We have man-eaters and... oh, lead level 9. I see. So, interesting. So they are great weapon man-eaters and ogre pistols. You know, if I look at their capabilities, even the ogre pistol unit has a similar charge bonus and weapon strength. So, okay, yes, they are anti-large, but why would I not use the ogre pistol? It's the same with legionaries in Rome 2. They had Pila, or Pila? Pilus? It should be singular. Pilar? Or is it Pilas? What is the English plural for Pila? It's not Pilar, that's not plural. Let me quickly... plural of Pila. I do it's Pila. Oh, it is Pilar. Okay, no, I was correct, but I doubted myself. Okay. So, of course, legionaries with Pilar, you could just stack them at the front, and when the enemies got close, they got Pilars thrown into their faces, and then they were the legionaries were still extremely powerful in melee combat. So of course we're going for ogre pistol. obviously. And now we have the Ogre Bulls with the dual weapons. And yeah, we're definitely going for lead belchers. We need them in this army. And we could go for Mornfang Cavalry, but I don't really care. Let's go for lead belchers. Lead belchers are just dope as heck. Okay, more lead belchers. And now we have 5 lead belchers. That should be enough. So we're going to wait for them to level up, and they're yeah, they're going to become Iron Guts. Okie dokie. So, greases, my mighty one. Should we do something? The Temple of I mean, it's level 3. We should do something. Let's go for guard tent. Even though, I mean, defensive supplies is awesome, but in terms of garrison provided, this is not that strong. This is more useful, but it's also much more expensive. So I'm not the biggest fan of it. Income generated, yeah, let's do it. And let's get the guard tent up and running. Okay, Gob's not big rubber, you, my friend, are going to war. Damn, they're 2 full stacks. Do we have lightning strike? It's kind of, yeah, we have lightning strike, okay. They do have ambush. Do we not have special protection against an ambush? That's kind of important. Apparently not. So it might be a good idea to try to take their towns first, but at the end of the day we will have to deal with them. So let's get here, 51. Let's get into encampment. Garlic Feasthouter. You, sir, need to become useful and take Titan's Notch. 50, that's far. Oh! Oh, this is our territory of a friend, right? So, how far can we go? Okay, okay, we can't go further than that. Please get a warband. Scory Stoneville with a good army. Oh, finally something useful appeared. Alrighty. Perfect. Let's quickly check the diplomacy window and then we're going to end the episode. Yeah, I'm still not... Should we be friendly to them? Why, we can even do non-aggressive pact with dwarves? Oh, you can trade with them later. Okay, potential trading partner, that's acceptable. Dwarves we're not going to. We're going to fight dwarves, inevitably. Even though we could... You know what? Why not? If there are certain dwarves who want to be friends with us... Hello there. Okay, quick deal. Anything else here? Military X... Nah. No. Damn. There's a giant dwarf face. And a super cool helmet. This is of course the Empire, Sylvania. We're not there yet. First we're going to expand here. And let's say goodbye to the desolation of Asgore. Is that an L? No, it's an H. Asgore.